Okay, so on the previous episode from from we talk about Jason Tatum's potential return this Friday, and then the Spurs squares off the 76ers. We previewed that game yesterday, and then we had Daniel Jones. Either he's going to be signing or tagging, and then Brees Hall already placed on a franchise tag, and then Cowboys needs to improve their acquisitions this offseason and all that stuff. But today, we had some big topics in the NFL today and other stuff. Here, let's see what's coming up on JDB's morning cap. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. Today is March 4th, 2026. And this is a huge day here as March Madness is less than 2 weeks away. So we got a lot of things to share about that here today. So we'll see how this plays out here in the NFL. So we'll see how it works out. So we have a lot of NFL news to share. Here we had 3 players are no longer with the team to free agency. So here we go. Here's the biggest one. The biggest news of the day from yesterday. The former number 1 overall pick of the 2019 draft and the Heisman Trophy winner in 2018 out of University of Oklahoma. And also the number 9 pick of the 2018 MLB draft of the Athletics, originally the Oakland Athletics. Kyler Murray has been released, or it actually said the Cardinals are intending to release him on the first day of the league year next week. So there's a chance he could be traded by next week. So Kyler Murray is expected to release by the first day of the league year. So Kyler Murray has spent 7 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals, and Murray has took him to the playoffs just one time. That was his 3rd year in the NFL. The team took him to the playoffs with 11-6 record in 2021-22 season, ended up losing the wild card round to the eventual Super Bowl champion Rams. So Kyler Murray. So we look Kyler Murray's career numbers. So actually, let's take a look at Kyler Murray's stats from last year. He had 962 yards passing, 6 touchdowns against 3 picks. Career high in passing touchdowns in a season is 26, was 2020. career high in interceptions is just 12. So Murray hasn't thrown a bunch of interceptions. He's not the guy. He's not a high turnover quarterback. Kyler Murray is not a high turnover guy. So he has played 87 overall games. He's completed 67% of his passes. $20,460 passing yards, 121 passing touchdowns, 60 career interceptions. And 195 career sacks. Career high was 48. That was his rookie season. But Kyler Murray does have 32 career rushing touchdowns and 3,193 rushing yards of his career. So it's not a bad number for Kyler Murray in his 7-year career. So he's never had a quarterback relief appearance in 7 seasons. So he's played 87 total games, and all of them have been starts, by the way. So for Kyler Murray, should they be concerned? I mean, they should be concerned, because this is what happened. This is what happened for them right at this point on. So how the Cardinals are going to move on from Kyler Murray when he gets released next week? Should the Cardinals So if they want to find a quarterback, how they can do that? They need someone from the draft or somebody from free agency. If it's like a draft, if they decide to draft a quarterback, it could be Ty Simpson, Carson Beck, Drew Allar, Garrett Nussmeier. And a veteran, if they want to keep Jacoby Brissett, that's cool. And Jimmy Garoppolo will be nice. Or trade up from the quarterback, someone from Tennessee. It could stabilize this one here. So Mike LaFleur is the new head coach. So it's going to be hard. We're going to find a new quarterback successor. And Cardinals are not going to win a lot of games either next year. In fact, they only won 3 games last year, and the win total could be worse if they don't decide to draft a quarterback. A quarterback play is going to be an issue by going forward. So they're just going to rely on a younger Cardinals roster. This Cardinals roster is going to go much younger than expected. They expect to go young. They expect to develop. They expect to perform change. The change of performance. See how well they perform in that level in years to come. I mean, the guys who wants to step up and be a big leaguer, that's you gotta understand your instincts. You gotta understand your instincts. That's the key. That's how you rebuild, and that's how you transition young roster development. The Cardinals need to do this one thing at a time. Draft a quarterback and then sign a veteran. And then there could be some potential quarterback competition to start the preseason, even to starting the training camp and throughout the preseason. We'll find out who will be the week 1 starter going forward. Do they have to go with a veteran guy first because he had some starts experiences? It's understandable. You got to learn from someone. But the young coach will love to give this young quarterback an opportunity to start later in the season. If the things don't go too well. I'm just saying. You said one of the things that didn't go well. It's that the Arizona Cardinals are just looking for other opportunities to stand for it. So I think Arizona will have to think what should happen for this one, and now they can make something happen for that. So Kyler Murray getting released from Arizona possibly next week. So either they're going to rely on a draft pick, they're going to draft a quarterback, or they can sign a free agency. They got several options. They got multiple options. So if Mike decides to draft a quarterback, then this is a pretty good opportunity to step up. This is a pretty good opportunity to step up, and that's the case right now. So let's say if Arizona has a lot of opportunities to work with. Let's just say all this. They could say we can put someone into the bed. That's not even the worst thing in this one. So Kyler Murray is expecting to release next week. All right. So we're going to move on. We do have another breaking news in the NFL. It's from Indianapolis. The Colts are placing Daniel Jones on a franchise tag. So they said they failed to reach their long-term deal on both sides, so which means they're going to tag Daniel Jones until we find a long-term solution after the 2026 season. So here's the question right now. How the Colts did not get this deal, how the Colts, Daniel Jones, did not get this deal done. Well, technically, they just cannot they said we're not gonna reach Daniel Jones a contract agreement just yet. He said we understand the contract policy. We're deciding to place you on a franchise tag for 1 year to ensure we will find another long-term solution. So hopefully, they said hopefully we will keep him as long as we could. So I think Daniel Jones, I believe Daniel Jones will be a Colt. I won't say for the rest of his life. I wouldn't say that. As long as he finds his new home consistently, you gotta earn yourself a chance. You gotta earn yourself a chance. If you want to win some games, that's the key. When Daniel Jones was a starter, Daniel Jones was 8-5 when Colts were 8-5 when Daniel Jones starts. And then since the season-ending injury, the Colts finished 0-4 without Daniel Jones. Phillip Rivers was 0-3, Leonard 0-1. So those are the starts that Daniel Jones made. He made 13 starts last year. He won 8 of those 13 games, and then he got hurt. And then since week 15, others 0-4. Phillip Rivers made 3 starts, lost all 3. Leonard got the start in the final regular season game. He lost as well. Make it 0-4 without Daniel Jones. So, and they finished in the season 8-9. So that was a tough situation to go through it for Indianapolis. I mean, this is the chance that you gotta make it right now, and every time you've seen it, you just don't want to look. You do not want to look at something else to take it away from. So it's a really tough world right now. Yeah, it's for the Indianapolis Colts. So we will see how this gonna pan out. Out here, so we'll have to wait it out if as soon as possible in this one here. All right, so we're gonna move on. Coming up, we'll recap between the Spurs and the 76ers. We'll preview Thunder and the Knicks. We're also gonna update a Trey Hendrickson, and then we have a Bear center. Is he done in the NFL? We'll have to find out. And then finally, we'll preview Thunder and the Knicks in New York tonight. The Thunder's playing second night of the back-to-back. And then finally, are the Braves in trouble? We'll step away in 3 minutes. All right, welcome back on JDB's Morning Cap. So yesterday, the Spurs squared off the 76ers in Philadelphia. As the Spurs dominated the 76ers. Devin Vassell led the way with 22 points. Victor Wembanyama, he only had 5 field goal attempts with 10 points, but he did have 6 blocks. Stephen Castle had 15 points. Against Harper at 22, as well as the Spurs with a 131-91 win over the Sixers. The Spurs improved to 44-17. The 76ers dipped to 33-28, and they're sitting, I believe they're sitting a half game ahead of the sixth spot of the Eastern Conference. So let's talk about the Spurs right now. The Spurs pulled off a 46-point second quarter. The Spurs were up 32-25 before a 46-point explosion by San Antonio. And then they explode. Spurs exploded Sixers in the third quarter, 35-11. So it's been all Spurs since the end of the first quarter. It's not about Victor Wembanyama. It's about everyone else on this team. Vassell and Castle have combined 44 points. Look at their Spurs stats from yesterday. They finished 55% from the field, which is 49 for 89. 40% from long distance, 18 for 45. 83% from the free throw line, 15 for 18. 56 rebounds for the Spurs. 10 blocks. 6 of those were Victor Wembanyama. 10 steals as well. They did commit 15 turnovers. And the largest, it was 49. It was a wire-to-wire game. The Spurs have never trailed the entire 48 minutes. So they led the entire way. The Sixers, we'll get to that in a minute. We talk about the Spurs, their defense, the defensive versatility. Their defense has been strong. They've been great. They've been done everything they're supposed to ask. But the Spurs got a bunch of difference makers. But De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama, they had 11 and 10 points respectively, but they didn't have to do much. The supporting cast did their job last night because they felt like if they want how they're going to win this game without these stars, without Fox and Wembanyama. But these guys have stepped up to the plate, like Devin Vassell, Stephen Castle, Dylan Harper and Devin Vassell had 22 points each. Stephen Castle had 15 points. So that's how good the Spurs is contributing. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, with that loss, they're dipped to a half a game ahead of the number six spot, which means Sixers are hanging on by a thread. So the Magic could creep up their standings. So maybe the Eastern Conferences start to slip a little bit. So Philadelphia, you talk about easier or harder matchups. But this is a situation you have to make. You got to make yourself comfortable. So this is what happened. And then VJ Edgecombe was hurt. He had a bad back. Edgecombe only had 6 points, 2 for 9 shooting. Maxey had 21 points, just 8 for 19 from the field. Just the offense just hasn't got going last night, and that proved it costly. They shot 35% from the field, 24% from long distance. They only had 40 rebounds and 20 assists. They commit 13 turnovers. Just nothing has gone right for the Sixers last night. Now they have lost 2 in a row, and now the Sixers will try to hang on to the number 6 seed, because Sixers are playing the Jazz tonight in Philadelphia, second night of the back-to-back. So hopefully the Sixers could survive, not just tonight, for the rest of the year, to hold on to top 6. It's the number 6 seed of the Eastern Conference is actually wide open. You got Miami, you got Charlotte, you got Orlando, and Atlanta is also in the mix for top 6. So if that's the case, if Philly fails to get into the playoffs, what's the biggest issue? Injuries. The injuries have been holding the Sixers back. Joel Embiid is still out with injury. Paul George is still out. He's still taking the suspension. Then Edgecombe may not play tonight because he had a bad back. So this is the landing for the Sixers to overcome major injuries, and they're sitting 33-28. Last year it was disappointing. This year was a little bit better. I mean, this year they're better than they were a year ago. But the consistency just hasn't worked as planned for Philadelphia. So that will create more problems. That will create more problems for the 76ers. And that will be that. So, like I said, this is the land of opportunity. There's time. There's time and energy and time and effort. And that's the key to this. So they can put themselves in a golden opportunity. And it's not that hard to wait it out. It's not really hard to wait it out. So it would have happened if this team can put this one together. So if that's the case, then Philadelphia will be still in prime position to win basketball games. So that will be that. So the Sixers just need to hang on to number 6 seed. That's the key. So hold on to number 6 seed. Could face the Knicks in the first round of the playoffs. It doesn't get any spicier than this, if that's going to be the case right now. All right, so coming up, we'll preview the Thunder and the Knicks. The game is in the Big Apple tonight. The Knicks trying to keep this thing going. And then we'll update Trey Hendrickson's whether or not he's staying with Cincinnati or not. And then we have a Bears center. Is he done in the NFL? And then also coming up, are the Atlanta Braves in trouble? We'll find out who's in trouble right after the 3-minute break. All right, welcome back on JDB's Morning Cap. We got the Knicks taking on the Thunder tonight. Tip-off begins at 7 Eastern. In New York, the Thunder is 48-15. The Thunder is 40-22. So let's see. The Thunder did play yesterday. Thunder coming off a 116-108 win last night. With SGA did not play yesterday. But SGA is expected to play tonight for the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, so we'll find out if he is playing tonight. Against the New York Knicks. So now here's the question right now for Oklahoma City Thunder. So has it been a challenging season for the Thunder despite they have the best record? Well, it has been challenging at times this year. Not a lot, but it has been challenging because of injuries and some painful losses that have been suffered in this season. But I would say there's hope and optimism they can remain the number one seed in the West. I mean, if that's going to be the case, then this is a different story that you're asking here. That this Thunder team is still a pretty good. I'm still giving a pretty good case to come out of the West. So the Thunder is already clinched the postseason spot. They already guarantee themselves. So they don't have to do anything else. Yeah, so you would count a couple of things, but it certainly doesn't really work this way. But we have the situation you really want to make, and you say the Thunder is going to have all the chances that you need. You got all the chances that you really need right now, but you're going to turn this way around it. But it's a productive situation that you're going at it. But it's about these guys who's stepping up, like Casey Wallace. He's having a much better. He's having a solid year. You got Jalen Williams. Yeah, so and then you got some of these guys who stepped up in crucial moments. Even they don't have SJ or Jalen Williams. So get these guys healthy is going to be key. But going forward, so the best case scenario, it could happen by going forward. So we'll see how that stands out to it. So if the Thunder if this Thunder team has to go through that, then that's a tough situation to get to the top of it. That's your chance. As for the New York Knicks, the Knicks come off a huge win this past Sunday against the Spurs. The Spurs team had an 11-game winning streak. The Knicks snapping the Spurs 11-game winning streak 3 days ago, excuse me. And now they got big tests. They got to play the Thunder, and they got to play the struggling Nuggets. I mean, those are crucial games for the Knicks if you're going to have success both of these games between tonight and Friday. And then they got to play the Lakers on Sunday. So they got crucial games coming up. And then they got to head to a 4-game West Coast swing. They got to go to Denver on Friday. And then they got to play the Lakers on Sunday. And they got to play the Clippers on Monday, the second one of the back-to-back. And then they got to go to Utah. And then they'll end the road trip in Indiana. So West Coast and East Coast trip. So a 5-game trip for the Knicks before they headed back home on March 15th against the Warriors. So we'll see how that one plays out. If that's the case. So it's going to be a different story for them by going forward. So and that'll be that. So it's about the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns, he's having a down year this year. Hopefully the Knicks can. Hopefully, Karl-Anthony Towns can turn this thing around for the rest of the year and get into the playoffs. But Karl leads the NBA in personal fouls this year. I mean, the fouls has been an issue for him all year. The Knicks have been going through a lot of fouls this year, so they need to stop fouling. But they're 40-22, even though they're number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. So the Eastern Conference just continued to keep rolling. So that will be that. So the New York Knicks we wouldn't see a whole lot of difference in this one. So, and that's the best case scenario. The New York Knicks just getting everyone attention if this is the right move. So hopefully that will be that. And who am I picking tonight? I'm gonna pick the New York Knicks. 117 to 104 will be the final score. Knicks will win this one here. All right, so coming up next, we'll talk more NFL. We'll update Trey Hendrickson. And we have a Bears center. Is he done in the NFL? And then we do have a trade. We do have another trade from Kansas City as well. So we're going to keep that going. And then are the Atlanta Braves are in trouble in 2026? So we'll find out which player who's facing discipline will step away. All right, well, welcome back here on JDB's Morning Cap. We do have breaking news in the NFL, and the Chiefs and Rams are working Trent McDuffie. It looks like Trent McDuffie may acquire to the Los Angeles Rams, which means there's a potential source that McDuffie is heading to the Rams, which means the 29th overall pick of the NFL draft will go to the Kansas City Chiefs. So Rams were originally 29th overall pick was originally the Los Angeles Rams before the potential acquisition is made. So with the Rams acquiring McDuffie and the 29th, they exchanged the 29th overall pick. The 29th overall pick of the NFL draft in 2026 will go to the Kansas City Chiefs, according to Adam Schefter. And then McDuffie could sign a long-term deal. So the Chiefs are just keep losing players this off season or pass off seasons. So unfortunately, McDuffie, this could be the end of Trent McDuffie's Chiefs. So Trent McDuffie, Super Bowl champion, is heading to the Rams. So I'm gonna ask this question really quick. What do you think about what was my reaction of trading of McDuffie to the Rams? I think this is a good move for them. I believe this secondary, they just need more depth. They need more depth in the secondary position. That's going to be the key. And if that's the case, then this is a situation you really have to make. And for the Chiefs right now, they're just waiting to come things around. And now this is good for him. He's from this area. He's from California. He's from this area. He's from Westminster, California, which is in the Orange County area in Los Angeles. So he's closer to home. So that's the good news for Trent McDuffie. So it would be the case that the trade has worked all off. So now what's next for the Kansas City Chiefs right now after losing Trent McDuffie? Should they get another secondary help? Are they relying on their younger secondary to provide more experience? Yeah, this is a golden opportunity for the Chiefs to get to have a lot of reps. Who gets the cornerback job? So this is a huge situation for the Chiefs cornerback. So someone has to create coverages. Someone has to tackle. Someone has to stop the run. I mean, this is a situation. Where's the situation's going to come from? And the Kansas City Chiefs, the secondary in the past few years has been improved. And that's why they led to 2 Super Bowls. Well, that led to back-to-back Super Bowls. So if that's going to be the case, which guy is bailing you out? I mean, there's not a lot you can say about that, but there's so many affordable opportunities you do want to make it happen. If you make everything else happen, suit yourself. You might as well suit yourself right now. And and you can only make it matters. Then your team is gonna get putting yourself in a really tough position. So now they have to move forward from this. They have to come things around. They have to put it all together. I want anyone else to step up. And this is the path. This is the right path to do it. And that be that. As for the Rams acquiring Trent McDuffie, that's a good fit for them. That's a good fit. And now the chances are is winning the NFC West, win the NFC Championship game next year, and get to the Super Bowl and win it. And you can if the Rams host the Super Bowl, this Rams will become the first team in NFL history to host a Super Bowl multiple times. It has never happened in the history in the NFL. The team has hosted the Super Bowl multiple times. So, at the minimum of the 5 year span. So, we can keep their fingers crossed. Sean McVay, this Rams team is talented enough to get to the Super Bowl next year. I think this team deserves it to win a championship if they get guys. So the acquisitions for the Rams is off to a pretty good start because now they're going to continue to improve their acquisitions. Like I said, defense needs acquisitions, and that's a good start for that. Adding McDuffie is going to be a huge fit. Now they got a few more things to work on down the stretch of this offseason, and it depends on how much better it would make. So luxury tax is going the Rams' favor right now. So that was a good sign overall. All right, let's move on. Let's start with the Chicago Bears. Center. What happened? Drew Dalman has announced retirement at 27 years old. He has played 5 NFL seasons. So Drew Dalman is done after 5 years. He's only 27 years old. So how Drew Dalman retired at 27 years old after 5 seasons? He had a massive contract. He played 4 seasons with the Falcons, 1 in Chicago. Oh, the reason why he's retiring because he's dealing with ankle injuries with the Falcons. So the reason why he's retiring because he's dealing with multiple ankle injuries. That's the reason why that Drew Dalman retired. He dealt with injuries in the last 2 years with the Falcons. So he decided to leave NFL after 5 years. I mean, this is disappointing. To me, this is absolutely disappointing and shocking. And now the Bears are going to need a new center this offseason. And and that'll be that because this is a golden opportunity to stand for it because we have to do something to go back. So Bears do need a new center, and how they can do that. So they explore some options from the offensive line players. I mean, if that's the case, then this is a different situation you're going through that right now. It is really hard to see it because of that. So now you're getting yourself behind it, and then you get yourself another chance. So now now Drew's retiring. That's really unfortunate. All right, coming up next, we'll update Trey Hendrickson. Is he returning to Cincinnati or is he go elsewhere? Also coming up, are the Atlanta Braves in trouble? So, and then we'll wrap things up as it develops. We will step away in about 3 minutes or so. So we're really excited. So far it's been a good show so far, and we'll step away in about 3 minutes, maybe five, if that's the case. We'll be right back. All right, breaking news in the NFL from yesterday: the Bengals decided to not bring Trey Hendrickson back or tagging Hendrickson, which means he will be declared unrestricted free agent. So here's the question: where is Hendrickson going to go after he did not place on the FT or signing extension? So where he's going to be landed at? I believe Trey Hendrickson. I think the team needs a pass rush. I'm gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts is my option to get Trey Hendrickson. I think that's a huge fit for them. And then you got maybe the Buffalo Bills if they pass Max Crosby, or Detroit Lions might be the better fit. So I'm gonna say the Indianapolis Colts. Most likely the Indianapolis. I think he can make a huge difference to get the Colts back to the playoffs for the first time in 5 years or 6 years, something like that. So 7 years or whatever. So they have not made the playoffs in each of the last 5 seasons. The Colts have failed to make the playoffs in each of their last 5 years. So now I think Hendrickson will be the Colt this offseason. Depends on the contract situation. So it's really disappointing that the Bengals have to let him go. What's next for the Cincinnati Bengals overall? The Bengals defense going younger? What they expect to do that? Trey Hendrickson has played 2 teams so far. He's played the Saints, and so far he's played the Bengals. So now the Colts could land an opportunity. The Colts could land an opportunity to land Trey Hendrickson. So if that's that, then this is a different story right now that you can always work with. So it's a really tough world right now. It's the worst thing you have to see is to get traded in these situations, and now you got to go through some stuff that you're going at it right now. So Trey Hendrickson is heading to unrestricted free agent, and now he has to wait something else to go with it. So the Bengals are in trouble because Cincinnati's defense is going younger because of that. So that's a big move for them. All right, we just made the announcement moments ago. The Panthers will play the Cardinals in the Hall of Fame game on August 6th, 2026. So that's because Kuechly and Fitzgerald are both inducted to this year's Hall of Fame. So that's the reason why the Panthers are going to play the Cardinals in a Hall of Fame game on August 6th. So we'll see how that pans out here. Come up next, finally, are the Braves are in trouble? And then we'll wrap it up. What's coming up tomorrow's episode. We will step away in 3 minutes. All right, we have breaking news in Major League Baseball. The Braves have announced, according to ESPN insider of the MLB, Jeff Passan, the Braves have announced they are facing Jurickson Profar a full season 162 game suspension, which is a full season long. He's facing a season long suspension, 162 games. So he'll be sit out for the entire regular season. Jurickson Profar tested positive for performance enhancing drugs for the second time. Remember, he got caught last year for 80 games. This year, he tested positive again, and he's out for the entire season. Walt Weiss is the manager of the Atlanta Braves. This is his first season after spending time with his bench coach for lengthy of years. So here's the question right now. Are the Atlanta Braves in trouble in 2026 season? The answer is probably yes. Remember last year, the Braves got off to a disaster 0-7 start to start the year, and then they end up missing the playoffs. They got rolling, and then things have been tough down the stretch. The Braves last year in 2025, final season as Brian Snitker as manager, the Braves finishing the season 76-86. A disappointing season a year ago. Just unable to provide any offense last year. Now this year, they're supposed to be a pretty good juggernaut, and now suspending a Profar is going to prove the Braves costly. And the Braves are clearly in trouble because when we look into the 2025 schedule, when we look at the Braves' 2026 schedule, to start the 2026 regular season, they'll start the season on March 27th against the Royals. and then against playoff teams for last year, Guardians, April 10th through 12th. Phillies, April 17th through the 19th. They got to face the Tigers. They got to face the Mariners. They got to face the two-time defending world champions Dodgers on May 8th through May 10th. They got to play the Cubs, Red Sox. This is a really tough stretch for the Braves going forward. And then they got to play the Mets. Mets did not make the playoffs, unfortunately. You got to play the Reds. They made the playoffs last year. They got to play the Brewers. They made the playoffs last year. They got to play the Blue Jays, defending American League champions. So this is a big season for the Braves to prove it. I mean, if they want to run it, if they want to win, returning to win the NL East division, you got to find these roles consistently. Let's take a look at the Braves projecting starting lineup. Even with Profar suspension. So with Jurickson Profar being suspended, so it's going to be Acuna, Matt Olson. The third spot is up for grabs. Drake Baldwin, Austin Riley, Mike Yastrzemski, Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris II, Mauricio Dubon. So who has to do a DHing situation? It's up for grabs right now. We could see a prospect calling up and then someone get DH'd for someone. Because Sean Murphy is still dealing with a surgery issue. So and this is what happened, because these guys could be in the everyday lineup. Things will be consistent for them, and it just hasn't happened. But there's plenty of time to go through this, if that's going to be the case. So let's take a look at the projecting starting rotation. It's going to be Sale, Strider, Schwallenbach, Lopez, and Waldrop. But both Schwallenbach and Waldrop will both likely begin the season on the injured list. So the last two spots are up for grabs. So two guys are going to be placed on the injured list to start the regular season. That's a big blow for them. So they got to bring someone. They got to bring someone in the rotation. Grant Holmes. He had an up and down season last year. So Grant Holmes will be probably the number 4 slot in the rotation. He was in the bullpen sometimes. He's in the bullpen, but get Grant Holmes an opportunity. I think he's going to be good for him this year. I think Grant Holmes is going to be good. He's not a strikeout guy. Grant Holmes is not a strikeout guy. He pitches to contact. I mean, this is a next man up opportunity. And then the 5th spot is up for grabs with both Schwallenbach and Widrop. Both are going to place on the injury list to kick off the 2026 season. So the Grant Holmes last year, he wasn't bad. He went 4-9 with an ERA with a 3.99 ERA. His WHIP was 1.34, which is a little bit of average. So I expect Grant Holmes getting an opportunity to be a starting role by going forward and to make sure he comes around with it. So Grant Holmes hopefully does come around it. So Grant Holmes played 22 games last year. He only made 5 starts. He only made 5 starts last year. So Grant Holmes will get more starting rotation opportunities by going forward. So what do you think the Braves will miss the playoffs? Yeah, because the suspension of Jurickson Profar and probably the record overall is going to be a little bit better, but I think I still picking the Braves missing the playoffs because of the suspension of Jurickson Profar. So it's a really disappointing outcome to this. So it's tough right now. All right, let's wrap things up. All right, what's coming up in our JDB's morning cap? Tomorrow we'll talk more NFL. We're still updating. We're gonna update some NFL stuff, whether or not we have some news from the rest of today. Um, Also coming up, we'll recap Thunder and Knicks, and then Jason Tatum is inch closer making his season debut on March 6th, which is the Friday, by the way. So we are looking forward to that as well. So, and then we'll preview Rockets Warriors and the Lakers Nuggets tomorrow. We'll talk about that as well as it develops. So should be exciting. But tomorrow will be March 5th, 2026. March Madness is less than 2 weeks away. Keep that in mind. All the fields are up for grabs. So we're gonna keep their fingers crossed. All right, that is going to do it. This is JDB's morning cap. We'll see you tomorrow, and have a good rest of your day. It's time to say so long.